Welcome to BookTalk FM. Today we're really going to dive deep into Cal Newport's deep work. You flagged this one for us, listener, and our goal today is to unpack what Newport actually means by deep work and, why he argues is such a critical skill right now. We'll look at his definition, the benefits, why it's maybe getting harder to do, and also touch on some examples of people who really nailed it. Basically, give you a solid grasp of the core ideas in this book and, why they might matter to you.
Okay, so let's jump in. According to Newport himself, what is deep work?
Right. Newport defines it very specifically. He says it's professional activities performed in a state of distraction-free concentration that push your cognitive capabilities to their limit. It's a real intense focus. And he adds, these efforts create new value, improve your skill, and are hard to replicate.
The emphasis is really on that intensity, and the tough-to-copy output.
And he makes a really clear distinction, doesn't he, between that and shallow work. It's not just about, concentrating a bit harder.
Exactly. Shallow work is, it's the other stuff. More logistical tasks, less cognitively demanding, often done while you're distracted. Think answering routine emails, quick scheduling things, stuff that doesn't really stretch your brain or build significant new skills. It just keeps things moving.
Okay, got it. Deep versus shallow. So Newport sets that up. But why should you, our listener, really push to do more deep work? What's the big sell?
Well, he argues there are huge advantages, especially economically. His point is that in this new economy, the winners will be people who can really work deeply, people who can master hard things quickly and produce at a really high level.
And work well with intelligent machines, too, right? That's part of it.
Yes, that's a piece of it. It's about being able to leverage technology effectively through deep understanding, not just react to notifications. He talks about the superstar effect in knowledge work.
Oh, right, where the top performers get a huge slice of the pie.
Precisely. Because their skills, honed through deep work, are so valuable and potentially scalable. So deep work is kind of the training ground to reach that elite level of output. It's how you get demonstrably better.
Makes sense. And beyond the economics, he also highlights how deep work helps you learn faster.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That state of intense, undistracted focus is like hyperdrive for learning. Your brain just processes and connects information much more effectively. He gives that example of Ben, who wanted to learn coding.
Oh, yeah, the guy who locked himself away.
Sort of, yeah. Locked himself in a room, no computer initially, just books.
Forced deep concentration on the fundamentals. Newport says he mastered it much faster this way.
It really shows the power of just pure, sustained focus for skill building.
That's pretty intense, cutting off the tech like that.
Yeah.
But it makes the point. And it's not just learning faster, but producing better work, too, right? Like higher quality stuff.
Exactly. Producing at an elite level. Both quality and quantity, actually. He uses Professor Adam Grant as an example. Incredibly prolific researcher and writer.
Yeah, his output is amazing.
And Newport attributes a lot of that to Grant's strategy of batching hard intellectual work. Setting aside these long, uninterrupted stretches just for deep thinking and writing. Minimizes the cost of constantly switching contexts, allows for real productive momentum.
Right, creating those dedicated zones. So, okay, deep work sounds great, powerful, valuable. But Newport's core argument is also that it's becoming really rare. Why? What's pushing against it?
Yeah, he points to a few big things working against us. A major one is just the sheer prevalence of network tools.
Email, social media, Slack, all that stuff.
Exactly. The constant connectivity they encourage. Newport argues it actively fragments our attention, makes it incredibly hard to sustain the kind of concentration deep work requires. It's like a constant barrage of interruptions.
That feeling of always being on call, needing to check things.
Right. And that constant task switching creates what he calls attention residue.
Attention residue. What's that exactly?
It's like when you switch from task A to task B, part of your brain's focus stays stuck on task A for a while. This residue makes it harder to fully concentrate on task B. It dampens your cognitive performance, especially if task A was something kind of open-ended and not very intense, like scrolling social media. Your brain doesn't fully switch off.
Huh. That's a really useful concept. You feel that, don't you? That mental fog after switching. And then there's the workplace culture issue he brings up. Busyness being mistaken for productivity.
Yes, exactly. Because knowledge work output can be hard to measure directly, right? So people default to visible activity, being seen to be busy, answering emails quickly, lots of meetings. This creates an appearance of productivity, but it often actively undermines the possibility of deep work.
He mentioned Marissa Mayer at Yahoo, right? Banning remote work based on VPN logs.
Yeah, that's an example he uses, focusing on a visible, easily measurable metric logins rather than, well, actual valuable output, which might have required quiet, focused time, possibly away from the office. It ties into what he calls the metric black hole.
Meaning it's just hard to quantify the value of deep work.
Pretty much. It's tough to draw a direct line from an hour of deep thinking today to bottom line results next quarter. Because it's hard to measure, it's easy to undervalue, and behaviors that destroy deep work, they just persist.
If you can't measure it, you can't manage it, kind of thing. And finally, there's a broader societal point about technology.
Yeah, he touches on this idea, borrowing from thinkers like Neil Postman about technopoly. Our tendency as a society to just sort of assume new technology is always good. We adopt new tools, new platforms, without really stopping to think about the trade-offs, especially the impact on our focus.
Right. We jump on the bandwagon without considering the cost to our attention. Okay, so we've got network tools, attention residue, cultural issues, valuing busyness, measurement problems, and this tech optimism. It really does sound like a perfect storm, making deep work difficult. But Newport doesn't just leave it there. He gives examples of people who've managed it, right?
Oh, absolutely. He profiles several people who intentionally built deep work into their lives. Carl Jung is a fascinating one, the psychiatrist.
What did he do?
He built this stone tower, Bollingen Tower, basically a retreat, a place he went specifically to think and write deeply, physically removing himself from daily distractions to focus on his core intellectual work. It was deliberate.
Wow. A literal fortress of solitude for deep work. That's commitment.
It really is. And then there's Bill Gates and his Think Weeks.
Right, I've heard about those. Total isolation.
Pretty much. He'd go off grid for a week or two, just read papers, books, and think. No meetings, no calls. Apparently, some of Microsoft's biggest strategic shifts, like the famous Internet tidal wave memo, came out of those weeks. Deep strategic thinking.
And Neil Stephenson, the author, he does something similar, doesn't he? Despite writing about technology.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic. Stevenson, a cyberpunk author, intentionally makes himself very hard to reach electronically. He protects his time fiercely to get those long, uninterrupted blocks needed to write his very complex novels, prioritizes the deep work.
So it seems like a common thread is consciously creating boundaries. It's an active strategy.
Definitely. It's not passive. And Newport includes more contemporary examples too, people like Nate Silver, mastering complex stats and data analysis for his forecasts. That requires deep focus with technology.
Right, engaging deeply with the tools.
Or David Heinemeier Hansson, creator of Ruby on Rails. Building something like that takes immense focus, technical effort. And even someone like Rick Furr, a master bladesmith. Newport uses him to show that deep work applies to crafts, too.
Ah, so it's about the depth of concentration and skill, not just office work.
Exactly. The intense focus needed to master a demanding skill, finding meaning in that craftsmanship.
Okay, so deep work isn't just about productivity or career success then. Newport connects it to, like, a good life overall.
Yeah, that's a really important part of his argument. He suggests it goes deeper. Neurologically, spending time in that state of focused depth actually feels good. It's rewarding for our brains. He brings in Winifred Gallagher's work on attention, how what we choose to focus on shapes our reality and well-being.
So focusing deeply on challenging, meaningful work can actually make your working life feel more satisfying.
That's the idea. And it connects to craftsmanship again. Cultivating skill, really striving for excellence in what you do, whether it's coding or carpentry or writing. That process itself creates meaning. Deep work is the engine of that craftsmanship. It lets you hone the skills and apply them at that high level.
So it's not just about the job title, but the way you approach the work. The focus, the dedication.
Precisely. It shifts the focus from just the job description to the quality and depth of engagement. Newport kind of playfully suggests this idea of Homo sapiens depensis, that maybe we're fundamentally wired to thrive in depth.
And we struggle when things are too shallow and fragmented.
That seems to be his implication, that deep engagement aligns better with how we're built to find satisfaction.
Okay, so wrapping this up, deep work, as Newport presents it, it's clearly more than just buckling down for an hour. It's really a whole approach. A strategy for high achievement, sure, but also for learning faster, building valuable skills, and potentially finding more meaning in what you do professionally. It definitely makes you think about your own workflow, doesn't it? All those distractions. Consider, what even small blocks of truly focused, uninterrupted time might do for your ability to learn, to create, maybe just to feel more accomplished. Newport really makes a strong case for intentionally reclaiming your attention. It's a noisy world out there. What really stuck out for you in all this? What kind of personal ball engine tower could you even imagine setting up for yourself? Just some things to chew on as you think about applying these ideas. Thanks for joining us on Book Talk FM.